Good morning. Welcome to the second edition of POLBOAT ECO FORUM. We have a pleasure to host our first panelist. Our amazing guests are today Easthill, General Secretary at European Boating Industry. Philip, big bravo. Petros Michelidakis, the Director of BOOT Düsseldorf. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will start from Philip because, Philip, I remember that you were here a few years back. So I would like to ask you about your impression about this year's edition of POLBOAT Yachting Festival, and do you see any significant changes?
Yes, I think it's quite impressive that this show has been going for 6 years. I think it's a very good sign for the Polish industry that they can come together in this format once a year, support each other, also for the B2B contact, but also to grow the Polish market, which I think is really important. So yes, I think it's been growing a lot and going in a positive way.
Thank you for coming and thank you for being with us. So I think that we should start also, we should continue with the another question and the hottest topic in the industry at the moment. I'm speaking about US tariffs, so could you please update us on the status on the tariff imposed by the US?
Yes, it's a very difficult situation for many industries and ours as well, of course. The situation that we're in right now is that at the moment, if you want to export to the US, you have this 10% what they call baseline tariffs. But this will run out on the 1st of August, unless there's another extension, and we know the situation is very dynamic and has changed a lot of new deadlines, which is quite difficult to keep up to. And hopefully, 1st of August, that's in 1 week's time, hopefully by then we will have an agreement between the EU and the US. There were some rumors in the last 2 days that the agreement would be around 15% tariffs, which is a very large number and probably the limit, if not well above the limit for our companies. So we hope there's an agreement because we need predictability, stability in the market. The US is such an important market for our Polish and European boat builders. But we also need an agreement that is realistic and achievable for our companies. If there's no agreement, if the talks fail, then the European Union is quite prepared to also put tariffs on American products, including tariffs on American boats coming into Europe. And that's something we want to avoid because then we will enter into a trade war and we will have tariffs going the other way, etc., etc. The European Union was also considering putting tariffs on some components coming from the US, including engines. We were able, with our lobbying as EBI, to get some of those engines off the list, which is good news, because there would have been, if this comes, then there would have been 30% tariffs on US engines, which would have been quite a significant barrier and quite a significant cost increase for our European builders, and they've obviously had to increase their costs already in the last year. So at least we were able to manage that, but it's still a very concerning situation, and until there's a deal, nothing is sure, unfortunately.
Thank you so much. I think we should organize this conference again on the 1st or the 2nd of August. But I believe that will be a big communication about the decision and any steps, right?
Yes, and we are directly involved with the European Commission, so we are in the European Commission almost every week to make our case, to understand what they are doing and how they see our industry. They understand now, which is good, that we are one of the top 20 exporters of European products, and that means we have a seat at the table, and they talk to us. We're obviously not as big as automotive, but they do listen to us and they do hear our concerns.
Thank you so much. Over the past decades, EU legislation has had a major impact on the boating industry. What specific action is EBI currently undertaking to help the yachting industry align with EU Commission requirements related to green solution and sustainability? One of the hottest topics, the second one.
Indeed, yes. I think so. There's two dimensions I want to talk about. In the last 10 years, as I say, the European Union has been very good at making regulation which is a lot of burden and a lot of reporting and a lot of costs for business. The good news is that this is changing a bit. I said it yesterday in my opening speech. It's more of a pro-business sentiment. So there's more appetite to reduce burden, to reduce costs and simplify legislation, which we are also pushing for our industry, which is good news, to make it, for example, more digital, less paper. All of that will reduce costs. But we know that sustainability is not going away as a target, and that's a good thing. So what we're doing is we're trying to be proactive, and we've started a project 1.5 years ago called Blue Boat Horizon, in which we now have 18 of the largest European boat builders involved, from Bavaria to Sunreef in Poland, to Sunseeker, to San Lorenzo, and many, many others. This is about being ready for sustainability, but doing it in the right way, not looking just at the tailpipe emissions, but looking at the entire product, at the entire life cycle. So we're now at a sort of a stage where we are continuing this project. We're also making it more international together with our US partners, and we are getting more European yards on board and yards based in Europe on board. So this is definitely an open call also for the Polish yards that would be interested in joining this project. You are very much invited, and we hope to have you on board.
Yeah, for sure. The more information we have, the better. And is there anything that you would like to add from the EBI side?
No, I think it's really important the work we do in Brussels, and I would say that, but I do really believe that's the case, because a lot of the legislation that applies for the companies that we see here at the POLBOAT Yachting Festival is made in Brussels, and we need to make our case day by day, week by week, so that our industry's concerns are heard.
Thank you. And together with both Düsseldorf, you created an incredible platform during the show, the Blue Innovation Dock. EBI does a great job in shaping the conference content. So I would like to ask you first about what we can expect in the next year's edition.
Yes, I mean, you were there also in January speaking on the panel, one of the panels, which was great, Karolina, to represent the Polish market as well. And what we do with Blue Innovation Dock, and Petros will talk about it as well, is to really provide a platform for the industry to talk amongst itself about what will happen on sustainability, innovation, and not just sustainability, but innovation in all the other areas around the product, around the use of the product, how can we get more people involved in voting from a young age, and so a lot of different dimensions, but also as a platform to talk with decision makers. So we always bring politicians from Brussels, from Berlin, to come to Düsseldorf so that we can have a discussion with them, but also show them around, so that they actually see our industry when they regulate our industry. So it's really a very important platform for us.
I was incredibly very impressed about that this year, so hopefully next year is going to be even better if it's possible to be better. So now I will jump to both Düsseldorf, like naturally. Petros, would you like to add something about the Blue Innovation Dock?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank Philip and his team for being our partner, contributing and coordinating the topics at the Blue Innovation Dock. This is very important for us because we need this statement and voice in Brussels. We need it because the boating, the leisure boat industry is taken, let's say, years ago, not very serious in regards of, yeah, it's a small industry, who cares, they're only spending leisure time there. But the opposite is the case. We are a very important industry. We are contributing a lot of money to the GDP of any country, where especially countries having access to water are very much depending on the tourism which comes out of water sports, of the use of a boat. But even if somebody is going diving or surfing somewhere, he's leaving money on the place. And the topic is always that I want to live, I want to experience my water sport, my favorite water sport. And now the Commission, especially the Commission, because there the regulations are taking place, have started to have a complete different view on what we are doing. And this is definitely also a result of being at the Blue Innovation Dock at Boat Düsseldorf. Also for next year, we can tell you that we have invited the EU commissioners, the new EU commissioners, so we can ask them to talk to the industry directly, to take part at the panel, and to see what we really need as an industry. And of course to see the effect of being an active water sport country, also the financial effect in terms of taxes, but also in terms of income and wealth. And we all know that wealth is the prospect a country needs to go further, to reach the next goals, to stay innovative, And that is why we will continue with the Blue Innovation Doc, trying to show the reality, especially to the regulating politicians, but also to give the industry access to the politicians, but also to the exchange of knowledge and see how innovative we can be.
Thank you so much. And it's your first time at the POLBOAT Yachting Festival.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us here, and thank you also Düsseldorf for the partnership in Eco Forum. We do have a partnership with POLBOAT since many years, but Düsseldorf has been the most important show for many companies from Poland. So what we can expect in the next edition, and what Polish company also can expect.
Yeah, let me first start to say thank you for this, let's say, settled partnership we have with POLBOAT. Thank you and Michael and the team for supporting Boat Düsseldorf. But it is, of course, a partnership which is based on mutual understanding, and the role of Boat Düsseldorf in this and the other partnerships we have also with other countries is to support the Polish industry, to show what they are able to do. It's not by coincidence that Poland is one of the most important countries when it comes to brands, but when it comes to boat production, it's the country with the highest boat number produced in a country. And this is because the Polish people, hardworking people, but also very innovative people, and that makes Poland, of course, a center of the industry. I think that any shipyard in the world has think to come to Poland, creating a place of production or cooperating with Polish producers if they want to enter the European market. And this will become maybe more important in the future because Philip mentioned the tariff we have. I don't want to say that globalization is over, but globalization has definitely slowed down. This is forcing us and the industry to think about new models of cooperations. We see, for instance, that yesterday there were talks between China and the EU. We have to resettle the commercial partnership, talks with South American countries for the Mercosur agreement. We see that we have to do something. And what will be important in Düsseldorf, and that's one reason why we are here with Arne and our colleagues from the office in Poland we have, is to find ways of supporting the Polish industry to find new markets. Yeah? This will be very important because if we have a high tariff outcome in the US, then we will have, of course, a problem because numbers of sales in the US, which is the biggest market for leisure boat industry, it's 50% of the whole world industry. Then of course we have a problem. And of course we need to look for new markets. So the point is, which markets will be important in the future? We ask our exhibitors and everyone who comes to Boat Düsseldorf, in which market would he lay the importance in the future? And when they say, yeah, you know, we're thinking about countries in Asia becoming important, like Thailand, for instance, importing boats, expanding their tourism, their boating tourism, then we are able to invite people from Thailand to come to Boat Düsseldorf. We can have a network evening with the companies interested in exporting to Thailand and to other countries. And this is the way we create new markets. And coming to Boat Düsseldorf is automatically for all visitors, and we know that we have about 30,000 B2B visitors coming from outside Germany, that they suddenly see how big the market is and the possibilities there. And this is attracting everyone to invest in a new relationship. And for us, for the Polish industry as well, for the other industries, it is a site that new markets can be developed so that we can be calm in the future, continuing producing our products and selling it to the world.
Something that I want to ask, because for the companies who have never been at the boat Düsseldorf, for example, what they can expect, how we can encourage them to exhibit during boat Düsseldorf 2026, for example.
Yeah, we already had very good talks yesterday, and I can already say that we will have a big Polish participation at boat Düsseldorf. What is new? I mean, you have seen what we have done in 2025 with some new places of networking and meeting, like the sailing plaza. Sailing is a huge topic for boat Düsseldorf. We still have a lot of sailing producers at the moment. Due to the circumstances, of course, we have many challenges to overcome. The market is not reacting like the industry needs it. We had strong years during COVID, then the market fell down. Now people who bought a boat during COVID, they think about selling the boat, so the used boat market is also full, and we have to wait until the situation is balancing again and the shipyards start selling more new sailing boats, also motorboats, but in sailing the problem is bigger. And we also have to create new touristical markets. There is one thing I want to add, Karolina, because I saw what you are doing here. It's a wonderful seaside resort, I would say, with nice and beautiful possibilities of water sports. What we see at Boat Düsseldorf, and this is an outcome of the climate change, is that more and more people from the North European countries are choosing the Baltic Sea and even countries more in the north to have their vacation, their boating vacation in July and August, because the Mediterranean side is becoming too hot, and 35-40 degrees is, let's say, not the favorite temperature for many North Europeans. Yeah? So we have already some companies from Scandinavian countries exhibiting at boat, showing the possibilities of having boating vacations in their countries, and this will grow. And I think the Baltic Sea and the Polish seaside is also a very recommendable place of doing for the boating vacation, but also for the Polish municipalities and regions to expand and promote the boating tourism on the seaside. And I can tell you that this is definitely something which will expand in the future, because people are searching for new possibilities. So if you have fleets of sailing boats here and you promote it also at Boat Düsseldorf like the other countries are doing it, I'm sure that many will choose to come to Poland, because the hospitality here, and I can tell you that by experience, is unique. I love to be in Poland. People are very friendly, and you have everything you need. And don't forget that the boating and the water sports tourism is contributing a lot to the industry. And that is why we should all take care of these very special regions at the Baltic Sea and promote the tourism.
Thank you, that was a great point. Thank you so much. And I have to ask you about sustainability. And so, come back to sustainability more now. How is the event contributing to building a more sustainable future for Düsseldorf?
Boat Düsseldorf has always been supporting the sustainability and the climate and ocean protection matters at Boat Düsseldorf. We always had a cooperation with several NGOs, with WFO, with Greenpeace, with Sea Shepherd. They are all exhibiting at Boat Düsseldorf, explaining to the water sport community what they have to take care of. We all know that we all love, as water sport addicted people, to have our water sport in clean waters. Yeah, and that's why we care especially for our oceans. We created in 2017 Love Your Ocean. Love Your Ocean is a special space with the German Ocean Foundation where people can see what they can practically do for protecting the oceans, but also what companies are already possible to do for sustainability and protecting the oceans. Then we created the Ocean Tribute Award. It's a prize with 20,000 euro for companies who have developed projects or products that are really supporting and helping to keep the oceans clean. And then, of course, we have the Blue Innovation Dog as a platform where politicians, decision makers and the industry are meeting to solve out the problems and to create a knowledge about the sustainable and innovative future we all need to have. So sustainability is and was always a topic at POLBOAT Düsseldorf. And it is, of course, important for the future, because at the Blue Innovation Dog you see how many new innovations we present. And on the other hand, the innovations developed are also bringing a good part to the turnover the industry needs. So it is a development which has a good return in the future. And if it's practically possible, then it also works. We have places where, for instance, only electric propulsion is allowed, no engines anymore. We know all the plans of the EU. It will affect in some years also the boating industry. But at the same time, we see that new battery types are developed which are more practical to use on the boats. We see also that the engines are working much better with higher power and longer ranges. And the practical problem we have to solve, and this is also a topic for the Blue Innovation Dog we will cover next time, is the charging of the batteries of the boats. This is a topic which is also depending again on the regulation of the EU. But yes, sustainability will stay a very important topic, and also there we will try to support the industry.
Thank you so much. I think that we will have a lot of questions from the crowd which is outside and from the people who are actually hearing to this panel. Is there anyone who would like to ask the question here in the room? Okay. Is there anything that we should add, maybe?
I mean, I obviously agree with everything Petros has said, and visit Poland, exclamation mark, I definitely agree. And I think what's really important is 2 points. One is the partnership that we have the POLBOAT, POLBOAT Düsseldorf, and many others. I think that makes the industry stronger if we work together. And the last point I want to make is a political one. If we look at the data and we look at exports of recreational boats and yachts worldwide, Europe is 63% of global exports. The second region, second country is the US with something like 20%. I don't know if there's any other industry in the world, in Europe, where we have such a strong position on exports. And this is the point that we have to make in Poland, in Germany, in Brussels, everywhere. We are such a strong industry. We have retained production in Europe, here in Poland, but many other countries. And this is something really positive, and we have to keep that. And that's something that I think we have to make even stronger every week.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming to Poland. I do hope to see you, of course, at POLBOAT Düsseldorf next year and next year at POLBOAT Yachting Festival. Thank you so much.
Thank you.